Greetings and salutations. Welcome again. My name's Clayton, and after our last video, Oaken Spire, I had a lot of questions about painting techniques and things that I used. So this video here is for Goblin Grotto, which is from Printable Scenery. You can check it out, printablescenery.com, Goblin Grotto. I bought into the Core Haven Goblin Grotto Kickstarter. Opened up a lot of stuff, and they're still adding stuff to it. So great Kickstarter, go check it out. Basically what I've done is I've gotten through 5 rolls of filament, about 4 weeks of printing, and I got all of it pretty much printed out. I got a couple more bigger pieces that I'm finishing up here soon, and I'll have all of them done. I want to show you basically what I've used to get to this point and what I'm going to use to paint these pieces. The first thing, probably the most important, is this primer. It is Rust-Oleum, and it's just flat gray primer. It's what I use for these pieces. After sprayed, obviously before spray, they're going to be about this color. After spray, we get this darker gray. I use this Rust-Oleum primer, either the gray or the black are the two that I use the most often, and sometimes white. Depends what color I'm going for by the end of the project and what I want the undershadows to look like. So the darker gray was my choice for these. I do want to go through the other things that I use. Anytime that I'm spray painting, I always use a mask to help with the overspray and such. Here in my garage, in my workshop, I have a couple venting fans that suck the air out of the garage. So it helps to keep that clean, almost like a painting booth. But if you're painting at home, make sure you use a mask. They're not that expensive, and they'll take care of you in the future. The other things I used were these epoxies. They are basically a 2-part epoxy. They're my favorite because they're water soluble. Once they get hard, they're permanent. Here's a piece that I used last night, and you can see I can't break it. It's a 2-part. You mix it together, it becomes hard. Now, what I use that for is many of these prints, some of them, not many, but some of them weren't perfect. So the ones that weren't perfect, I went back and filled in some of the spots. When you're printing these bigger pieces with these stalagmites and stalactites on them, here is a perfect example. This one, you can see, is coming off of there. And all that was poor feeding, poor script, whatever it was, whether it was the code or just bad printing. But you can see the rest of them are pretty solid. But for that one, you can see it's broke off there. Take a little bit of that 2-piece epoxy, make a little point, stick it back on there, and all of a sudden your print's back to perfect again. So I went around and did that with several of these. I had another piece that was human error printing, and the top layer, I ran out of filament, and the top layer didn't print the top of some of these rocks. You can see it's kind of smooth and flat. All I did was take the epoxy, put it on the flat ones, textured it up a little bit, and boom. I wasn't going to waste this one piece because of my error. So after I filled everything, I went ahead and primed. Like I said, I used the Rust-Oleum flat gray primer, and I put it on pretty heavy. It'll cover up some spots, but also I found that it paints well. Here in Ohio, it gets pretty cold in the winter, so right now, this week, we have a break where it's actually pretty nice out, and I decided to try to get this primed while we had that break so I didn't have to heat the garage to a ridiculous temperature to paint. After I filled everything and primed everything, it's all sitting here on the table, and you can see behind me there are many pieces to it. These are all the base pieces, not the specialty pieces. I'm going to do those in another batch later, but for priming, it's pretty simple for me. I fill in the spots, use the 2-piece epoxy, works well for me. The green stuff, it's basically the same thing, except green stuff is really messy and hard to clean up. This stuff for me, you run your fingers under the faucet and it comes right off. But I filled everything, primed everything, and now they're ready for the next step, which is the paint. And I'll be doing a video on it also. When I do paint, just to let you know, I'm going to use a lot of craft paints. The plan is a few colors and some washes. I also want to take the canned Army Painter wash and compare it to even a basic wood stain. To me, it seems like the same thing. I want to check and play with it with these pieces and see how it turns out. So I'll have that comparison. You can check that out also when we get to that point. But for right now, all the priming's done and ready to start on the next step. A couple more days of printing, I'll have all the pieces done and be really into that painting process. Hopefully I'll have that video for you guys next week. Stay tuned, check it out. If this is on YouTube and you're checking me out on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. The more people we get here, the more of these videos we can do. I appreciate it. I hope you have a great time gaming, and good luck to y'all. And if there's anything you need, please comment down in the comments below. I appreciate it, and we'll see you on the next one.